What's up everyone, and today I'm bringing a deck profile on my @Ignister deck. Now, @Ignister is a deck that has actually been on the verge of competitive play, because it has seen a little bit of competitive play, but not quite there yet. Now before we get to the video, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel because 90% of the people watching this video are not subscribed, and let's fix that. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. First, I run 3 Picari @Ignister. Picari, if this card is normal special summoned, you can add 1 AI spell trap from your deck to your hand. Usually, you're going to use it to add the Idol Reborn or the AI Meet You, because aside from the field spell, those are the only other cards you run that are AI spell and trap. And then you can also target an AI @Ignister monster you control. Its level becomes 4 until the end of the turn, so you can do some rank 4 plays. I also run the 3 Achichi. If this card is normal special summoned, you can add 1 level 4 or lower @Ignister monster from your deck to your hand. And at the start of the damage step, when your Cyberus monster battles, you can banish this card from your graveyard to destroy that monster you control. Now the first effect is definitely the very important, because you can search out any of your other @Ignisters, more or less the Hiyari or the Doshin. I also run 2 Doyon @Ignister. If this card is normal special summoned, you can target 1 @Ignister monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. And this card is sent to the graveyard as material for the link summon of a Cyberus monster. You can target 1 AI spell trap in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So you can add both a monster and a spell trap from your deck to your hand. Or not from your deck to your hand, from your graveyard to your hand. Now, the most oftentimes when you're actually going to use this is, say you have a Cyanide Mining, because Cyanide Mining requires you to send a card from your hand to the graveyard to activate its effect. Now we can activate Cyanide Mining, and then just get that card back with Doyon. I run 2 Hiyari @Ignister. Hiyari, if you control an @Ignister monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. That's mainly the only reason why I run Hiyari, is for the fact that it can special summon itself from the hand, which allows you to extend with link plays. Same reason as the next monster. Now it has an additional effect to tribute another Cyberus monster, add 1 level 5 or higher @Ignister monster from your deck to your hand. And if you do, this card becomes level 4 until the end of this turn, which you don't really use too often. It's mainly just for the effect to summon itself, much like Doshin @Ignister. Doshin, if you control an @Ignister monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then, or you can also target 1 Cyberus Link monster in your graveyard, return it to the extra deck. And if you do, add 1 AI Love Fusion, but you don't run that, so it doesn't really matter. It's more or less just for the summon of itself. I also run the 1 Dunmari @Ignister. When an attack is declared involving your @Ignister monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, negate that attack. While you control a Link 6 monster quick effect, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard. Target 1 face-up card your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of the turn. So it's a bit of an effect negation. Granted, you only run 1 because it's only coming up, it doesn't come up too often. Also run the 1 Bururu. If this card is not special summon, you send an @Ignister monster from your deck to the graveyard. So you can maybe send an Achichi to trigger its effect or something like that. But more or less, you're probably going to be using it for the Donmari. Next, I run 2 Gachari @Ignister. You can target 1 Cyberus effect monster you control, negate its effects, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. So you have to negate 1 of your own Cyberus monsters to summon it from the hand, which is fine because you can usually just say if you normal summon Picari, then you can special summon that by negating Picari's effect because you already use its effect. It's not really going to matter. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target 1 face-up monster you control. That target is unaffected by your opponent card effects until the end of your opponent's turn. It's pretty much just for the free summon onto the field. In the same way as the 3 Parallel Exceed. Parallel Exceed, whenever you link summon a monster, you can special summon it from the hand to the zone that link monster points to, and it becomes level 4 and its attack is reduced and its attack is halved. It has additional effect, if this card is normal special summon, you can special summon Parallel Exceed monster from your deck. So if you summon 1, you can summon 2 and then just go into a rank 4, which is pretty powerful. However, we don't really run a whole lot of rank 4s in this deck, mainly because it's more of a link-based deck. I also run 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring for my hand trap lineup, along with the 2 Nibiru the Primal Being, and 2 Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion. Moving on to the spells, I run 2 of the Ignister Land. I don't have the actual card. I was thinking about buying it for this deck profile, but it's most likely going to get reprinted in the upcoming tins. And this wouldn't really be to me, it's kind of a waste of money because I'm not going to be playing competitively with this deck. So I'll probably buy those once those get reprinted and the price of it gets knocked down. I also run, now the field spell is has a very cool effect. If you control no monsters in your main monster zone, you can special summon one Adignister monster from your hand. So it's a really good way to extend. And the one really cool thing is it's searchable off of the Dark Infant Adignister, because this searches Ignister AI land from your deck. And you can easily essentially clear your board because Dark Infant, Linkuriboh, and Linguriboh are all level 1 monsters that can basically use almost any of your Cyberse monsters. So you can clear the field pretty easy with it. Next, I run the 3 Idle Reborn. It's Monster Born for Adignister monsters. That's more or less it. It does have another effect, but I'm not really going to go over it because you basically never really use that effect. It's more or less the Monster Reborn effect. Because who doesn't want to run 3 Monster Reborns? I also run AI Meet You. Reveal one Cyberse monster with 2300 attack in your hand or extra deck, and then add one Adignister monster with the same attribute from your deck to your hand. So that's the main reason why, as you'll see later in the extra deck, I run multiple of the Adignister monsters of different attributes. I also run the 3 Signet Mining. Signet Mining it's a Cyberse searcher. It's Rhoda for Cyberse, more or less. I also run the 1 Monster Reborn. For traps, I only run 3, which is the 3 Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is just a really good card overall. Not really any need to discuss why it's so good, because it's one of the most played cards in the game. Moving on to the extra deck. I run 3 Dark Infant Adignister. This requires 1 non-link Adignister monster. If this card is linked summon, you can add 1 Adignister AI land from your deck to your hand. When a Cyberse monster with 2300 original attack activates this effect, quick effect, you can move this card to your main monster zone this card points to. Granted, that doesn't really come out. You mainly want it to literally search out your field spell. I run the 1 Linguriboh. Linguriboh is kind of a bit situational. When your opponent activates a trap card, quick effect, you tribute this card and negate that card's effect, and if you do, banish it. If this card is in your graveyard, you can tribute 1 Adignister monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, special summon this card. So it's, I guess, like your spell and trap, or your trap negation. I also run the 1 Linkuriboh because you do run level 1s, and Linkuriboh is still a really good Link 1 monster. Next, I run the 3 Dark Templar Adignister. This card is really good. If a monster is special summoned to a zone this card points to, even during the damage step, you special summon as many level 4 or lower Adignister monsters from your graveyard as possible to zone this card points to, but their effects are negated. And when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can special summon 1 Cyberse monster from your graveyard. So, obviously, it really does a lot, and you can easily go into your Link 5, 6 with it. Next, I run the Arrival Cyberse Adignister. This is I think this is the only Link 6 in the entire game. You can control 1 the Arrival Cyberse Adignister, which you only really run 1. The original attack of this card becomes 1000 times the number of Link monsters used for its Link summoned, unaffected by other card effects. So it's kind of like the Ultimate Falcon in a way, only it gets a lot more attack. So this is kind of like one of your end goals. This is something that is just completely unaffected by card effects. And once per turn, you can target 1 monster on the field, destroy it, and if you do, special summon 1 Adignister token. So it also summons a token on top of it. This makes me have one good question. Are we ever going to get a Link 8? Because there are 8 arrows total. I wonder. I also run the 1 Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid. Dark Fluid comes up very rarely, but if it does, you definitely want to go for it because it can end up having a whole bunch of negates. I believe, let's see. Again, you can probably get up to, at least in this build, 2 negates because you don't run the ritual, and no, you can get it up to 3 actually because you do run the fusion. I also run the 1 Apollousa and 1 Axis Code to round out the monsters. Now, I do run one of the fusion. This one is something I kind of threw in last minute. That means I can search out the, off of the AI Meet You, I can search out the Doshin, and I can also use it, for Firewall Dark Fluid. Next, I run the Wind Pegasus Adignister. You don't really use it more so its effect, more so for the effect of the AI Meet You. And the same reason as Light Dragon Adignister. Again, it's just for the AI Adignister. But one cool thing about Light Dragon Adignister, it's not so its effect, that you can also go into Zeus off of it. That's going to be it for this Adignister deck profile. Let me know, what do you think of this deck profile? Do you think it's a pretty cool deck? Do you think it has a real shot of competing? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video, mate. Bye.